So the other day I was taking a trip with my grandmother for, we call it the Christmas in Louisiana. I live in Texas, so it's kind of a long trip. And on the trip, her phone was connected to Bluetooth and she couldn't figure out, her phone was connected to the car through Bluetooth and she couldn't figure out how to turn it off. And I could hear what she was scrolling through on Facebook, the videos that were popping up and what kind of it's showing her, based on the algorithm and how it figures that what would capture her attention. And all the videos were so the opposite end, extremist views. And I'm not saying she's opinionated, but she has very strong opinions on certain things, and especially in politics. And it was just it was making the other side seem totally unreasonable, dehuman, like it was dehumanizing their site. So it was very black and white, and it was taking out all the shades of gray that's actually there, from a reasonable argument, and only presenting one side, and presenting the opposite side as totally illogical. Of course, if that's all you saw, you would believe the other side was off the rocker, so to speak. And social media has infiltrated and invaded all our lives in such a way and it's such a part of our culture in the modern world, and it's increasingly effective at capturing our attention. And the easiest way to capture our attention is to play on emotion. Now, I did a little digging and to find out how the algorithm kind of works and how it figures out what it will feed you. And it will find, so anger is one of the easiest emotions to play on because everybody has opinions on something, and the more it can present you with the opposite extremist views of your opinion, the more it reinforces your own sense of self. And you find your sense of self, unfortunately, so much and increasingly now through social media. And I will use Facebook as an example because I'm not too involved in a lot of social media, and I actually extremely limit my Facebook use because of this, because I found myself just in these rabbit holes of just hatred and anger, and like you see the most ridiculous responses and other people that are just so lost. And I say lost not in a like I'm looking down on them, but it's if that's what you do throughout the day, if you're spending hours, it's shaping your viewpoints. It's shaping how you see other people, and it's they used to call it echo chamber, but that's been somewhat disproven, I believe. When I was kind of digging, it's not an echo chamber. It's showing you the opposite view in the extreme framework of that view. It's framing it in such an extreme way that you look at the other side as being illogical, and it's dehumanizing people, really. There was tons of shades of gray, and you could fall somewhere in the middle, right? Whether it's politics, religion, philosophy. Well, philosophy doesn't really have this problem, I don't believe. If philosophy ever has that problem, then we're in big trouble, because that's the whole definition of philosophy, is trying to figure out how things work, right? But it'll frame the other side as is so extreme that you're like, well, those people aren't even human if they don't agree with me, right? And it makes it super far right or super far left because they're only being presented with illogical extremist views. The 1% of that side, their views are being presented. And of course, if you see the most extreme side of anything, you're going to say, oh, that doesn't make any sense. You're going to go with the other side, right? And now it's increasingly common to not be any middle ground, no arguments, no debates, no shades of gray where, hey, you can take some points of this side but not agree with everything. Now it's like, okay, pick a side, buddy. Facebook has made it where people feel like they need to just pick a side, and there's a lot of pressure through social media, and it's infiltrated the news, which is also now, at least American news isn't classified as presenting news. It's classified as entertainment. So most countries it's still news, right? But in America it's just entertainment, which could be a whole nother video. But it just shows you how far we've gone and how much trust we place in this algorithm that's just feeding you information, and it's causing so much hatred. The people that you would never believe would think these things or say these things on social media, you're seeing like friends and family, and you're like, wow, it's happening, right? These people that I know and I love, and that they're not that they're being shaped, but in a way they're being so heavily influenced where they can have such hatred for other people that they don't even know, right? And it's very hard. And the point of this video is just not to say that everybody needs to be open-minded, but know that there's two sides of every argument. And it's very important to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Now, how do you do that? How do you build this skill, these neural pathways? Well, one way is to, and it's going to sound ridiculous, but there is a point, say, pick out anything in the world, say a bat. Now, how does a bat go through life? What does it feel like to be a bat? Now, a bat doesn't use their vision the same way we do. They navigate the world in a different way, using sound, right? Now, how would that feel? How would it feel to only weigh, a few ounces and flying through the air and the wind under your wings? How would it feel to be nocturnal? And how would it feel? Hey, Shoto. How would it feel to be in something else's shoes? All right. He was just chewing on something. I don't know what it was, so I don't want him to lick me. But how would it feel to be Shoto? Live your life, have a great life on the lake, protect the house, and do country dog things. Really put yourself, and it can be as abstract as the color blue. Like, how would it feel? What would the texture of the color blue be? Leonardo da Vinci was able to come up with all these concepts and train his brain, and one of his exercises was simply saying, what would this color feel like? What would the texture be? What would the temperature be? If this color had something to say, what would it say? If you can train that skill of putting yourself, even in abstract concepts, in something else's shoes, then it will help you see the shades of gray of argument. It will help you be more open-minded, seeing, okay, that person's shaped by their experiences just like you are shaped by your experiences and your opinions. And to be truly neutral and to look at things without your own personal filters, that's a skill in and of itself. And I don't think anyone's perfect at it, but it is something to strive for. To realize that everybody has a reason they believe in something, and they are people too. So hear them out, see both sides of the argument, and try to think more logically and not emotionally. I think the algorithm feeds on emotion because we're naturally emotional creatures. And that's the easiest thing to infiltrate. We can get past the logic and just go straight to that emotional center, and we will act out of that place. With that, I love you guys. See you next video.